We are live. Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome back to the throne room. Let's do what we do best with our likes and our shares. Let's share, 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 share. Yeah. I hope that everybody has done the sharing, has done the liking,
Absolutely.
all that you need to do. Well, we are back inside of the throne room after we had our mental wellness break last week. I'm excited to be back, y'all. We have I want to say it's a ginormous conversation for us today, right? It's one that all of us have been struggling with as we try to figure out how best to do this today with y'all. Um, we come into the throne room because it is the space that we have created for us to be able to purge from our issues, heal from our wounds, and find rest so that we can transform into that which we have been called and created to become. And you all know what that is. That is
Royalty.
royalty.
Yes,
Y'all,
yes.
understanding that you royalty, it takes some work. It takes some real work. And
Not
so
gonna lie.
as we yeah, and so
Hmm.
we kicking off today with our topic of the man or woman in the mirror, the lies that we tell ourselves. Y'all,
Mm.
this topic, a heavy, heavy, heavy topic because it means that we have to look inward at who we are, all of the good, the bad, the not so good, the ugly, the shameful parts of us, all of the things that we try to present and pretend ourselves to be. We have to really look at that and figure out a way for us to be able to come to grips with our own realities. And sometimes the reality is that we're not happy with ourselves, with the way we live life and how we do things. The man in the mirror, the person that we see, isn't always the person that we want to look at.
Mm.
So this morning or this afternoon, I'm saying morning, y'all. Y'all see
Right,
where I'm at
absolutely.
already,
We're waiting
okay?
for you to catch
It's
up.
more. It's
Y'all,
morning somewhere.
yeah, y'all pray for me,
Somewhere.
okay? I'm sitting here, I'm pulling on all of my beautiful co-hosts. So with that being said, we're going to delve right into it. We're going to do our introductions. Y'all already know my co-host, my friend, my partner, my brother, my twin. If y'all didn't know, we got the same
Same
birthday.
birthday.
My brother, Ned White from Pure Care Ministries. Hey, hey, hey,
Hey,
Ned.
hey. What's up, sis? Listen, like you, I'm excited to be back. Um, I had a brief mental hiatus, but it was more because work was over demanding. And I'm so glad to have a moment to breathe and then get back with this and doing the stuff that I love. And that is being with you and being with our
Yeah.
listeners. And you know how much I love Jackie and mom. So when all of us are on together, I get extra excited. I'm over here. Y'all can't tell, but I'm doing my happy dance in my seat because I'm like ready to go today.
And we
Ready.
promise we gonna let you talk. We promise.
Listen, don't be making no promises y'all can't keep. So we good
Um,
though. I'm ready today. I'm
we
ready today.
love you.
I rested all day long. I'm
He
psyched
said,
up.
"I
I'm just gonna be
know."
jumping in.
He said, "I know better."
He said, I'm here for it. And if y'all don't know, y'all better know my right hand, my partner. She's my everything. I mean, if God had sent me a sister, she would be it. She's all sister, auntie, mama, everything, baby mama, all wrapped up into one. I don't even have to beg for anything. She's there to support me. And I love her life dearly. Y'all all know who she is. Jackie O from For Your Mind Inc. think. Hey, Jackie.
Hi,
Hello,
Jackie.
hello, hello. I'm ready to roll. We got to rip.
You ready?
We
Yes.
ready.
Everybody ready.
Ready.
And last but never least, y'all all know
Hey,
the mother of all
Yes.
mothers,
Yes.
my mama especially, and I get to share her with y'all. She is, she's down this way, Deborah Ivory Chandler, aka
hey,
Mother. Hey, mama.
hey, mama.
Greetings, everyone. I am always excited to be on, especially with Jackie and Ned, with all of us. You're right, Ned. And Jackie, when we all get together, and we haven't been together as much, but this month
Yes.
we've had an opportunity to come on together and to just to share and laugh and
Yeah,
invite you all into our conversations where we have a good time dealing with the topics. Today's topic, I'm a little.
we gonna have
I'm
fun though,
ready.
mom.
Yeah, we're going to process this one together.
We gonna have
Yeah,
fun today. I think
Yes.
it's
yeah,
Yes.
listen. If never been a time where we can emphasize the fact that this is a safe place to
Yes.
yeah.
have those kind of conversations. That emphasis is there today. We're going to pull the covers back.
Yes, yes, yes. So, if you guys are new to the throne room, please like and share. We love for you to do that. But most importantly, this is not just about us, this is live interaction. So, if you want to drop a comment, we want to give you a shout out. So, drop your comments, your questions, your thoughts, any responses that you have to anything that we say. Please feel free to drop it in the comment box. We can see it. We want to give you a shout out. So let's get started, y'all.
All right.
So, this man in the mirror, the lies that we tell ourselves. I'm going to just start off with when you think about this topic, what's the first thing that comes to mind, right? Like what's all the anxiety and the angst about?
Just like me, I thought about Michael Jackson.
We did. We was singing
There it
a
is.
song.
See?
Yes. Yes.
That is the first thought.
It is.
That's that
Live on,
Mikey
Mike.
song. That little
Live
Mike.
on.
You know, you guys thought about Michael Jackson, but I thought about Public Enemy. Don't believe the
Mm,
hype. Don't believe
Yes.
I was thinking about that too,
that's
Jackie.
the
As
North in you,
I was
Jackie.
thinking, you were talking about Layla Hathaway.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Uh,
I thought about all of those things, and it was like, because there's
Yeah.
different takes
yeah,
on it.
yeah,
Different
yeah,
takes.
yeah.
One where we can look at ourselves about and feel the when we talked about the mantle and our need to make a contribution to society. We can look at it from that
Mm,
perspective. Or when I listened to Layla Hathaway when she was talking about dusting off her
Mm,
shoulder and really loving on herself
right.
to get to a new
yeah.
place. Then that I thought about you and Eve in the garden where
Oh, you gonna jump right into that, mom? We got
I know, but she said, what did I think of?" And then
those
that's what
thoughts. Yeah,
left me
Yes.
perplexed.
Yes.
Yes.
yeah.
We're going to give a shout out to our aunt, well, my auntie, y'all, my mama's sister. Hey, TT, how are you doing? Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for tuning in,
Yes,
TT.
yes.
Yes. So, I thought about us all of the above, right? Except for Public Enemy, because you always bringing something new to the table, Jackie, right?
I
But
do.
I also thought about the fact that um, man, how many lies do we tell ourselves throughout the day? Like, I might literally try to tell myself a lie, and it might not seem like anything. It could be something so simple as, let me get my mind right so I can go deal with these folks on the job. And I'm going to pretend like I like them. Like, like, and I'm going to pretend like I really want to be at this job. I want to get up and get your, like, I'm literally, when I started thinking about this topic, I was like, man, I tell myself a lie more than I really even realized just to kind of make my way through the day. But how
Same.
detrimental, right? Saying, but I then begin to think about how detrimental that is to myself, but also to to the other people, right? So as I'm pretending to like this thing, I might be prohibiting someone from being able to get in their position that they would love, right? I just think about those things. So from your perspective, when you think about the lies that you tell, that we tell ourselves, that particular piece right there, what's so important about that? Like, why do we need to look at that and hone in that space?
Monica, what you were saying is had to do with our well-being, because it's something we
Mm-hmm.
didn't like, something we don't want to do, and
Hmm.
because we don't want to do it, we're trying to what they used to say, we sizing ourselves up, psyching ourselves up to the place
Right,
where we can get through the day and make it through, because there are other obligations. Because see, look what's behind that. There are
right.
obligations. And so in order for me to be well with my soul, in order for others to be able to tolerate me,
Mm-hmm.
as so I don't go along with this sour attitude, I try to psych myself up to make myself. But am I really lying to myself?
Hmm.
Mm.
And that's where the deception comes in, because we see it as psyching ourselves up, and we do it. We do it when we go to the gym. You're hurting and you tired and you keep pushing, pushing, pushing. And I got 10 more, and you pushing, pushing. And you get home and you saw it. And 2 days later, you feel it, don't know where it came from. Um, However, there's some good that could come out of it, and there's some counterproductive things that could come out of it, depending on where you stand or
I
where
was
you
about to
Hmm.
say
stay.
that. Depending upon where you are in your walk,
Yes, yes.
determines how that impacts you or the folks you come in contact with sometimes. Because a lot of times we'll find ourselves telling ourselves, or as mom said, psyching ourselves up for a moment, just so that we can get to a better place. And sometimes that may be a counterproductive move for us, because it's like sometimes you need to just say, you know what, today's not a good day. And I'm going to take a mental health moment and stop, or I'm going to pause because I need that. As opposed to lying to myself to say, oh, you can do this, you can go, you can get it. When really you need to just stop and pause. The flip side to that is that sometimes when we push ourselves to that outer limit or make ourselves believe that we can do something beyond our measure, it
Hmm.
inspires some folks to drive a little harder who might not have done it any other time. And they'll be like, hey, if they can keep pushing, I can do a little more too. So it is a double-edged sword of sense when you think about it. It's about where you are in your own walk sometimes.
Is it? I
And to
wonder,
to
guys.
that point, man,
Mm.
that's what burnout comes in at sometimes.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
That's where
It's
we
that,
burn
And
ourselves
also, you
out.
know
that
what?
mental awareness moment.
Yes,
Did it keep
definitely.
us stuck though? Can it
Say
keep
that, mom,
us
again.
stuck?
Yes, it
Can it
can.
keep us
Mm.
stuck in a place? Because if we're feeling that type of dread and discomfort, isn't that a sign that something's not quite right? And so
Mm.
instead of ignoring it and psyching ourselves out and pushing it, maybe we should be doing something else.
Hmm.
Mm.
Time to move.
That's a good question right there.
Yeah, yeah.
For
So
people
if y'all didn't know, we are processing today. We're not coming to the
Oh no.
throne room with anything specific for you, but for you to process with us. And so again, we want to give a shout out to OG, to our girl Melinda, who
Yeah.
just celebrated a beautiful birthday. Happy birthday, Queen. We love you, and we love the fact that you are always here with us. Again, drop your comments, drop your thoughts in the window. We can see them.
Yeah.
Interact with us. Let us know how
Yeah.
you're feeling about the woman or the man in the mirror. And do you ever tell yourselves any lies? Is there anything that you even have been told? Because I think that we've also been given down the line. I'll say it. We've been told lies to believe for ourselves, right? From other
Mm-hmm.
people. That Adam syndrome, I guess I'll throw that as, like, we've been given these different lies about ourselves, and we take them on and make them a part of who we are, when in all actuality we might know better.
Mm-hmm.
Is that concept of willful ignorance?
Hmm.
We
Explain what that
I was
means,
about to
Mom.
say,
Some of
yeah.
our users
Clarify
might
that,
not know.
mom.
That willful ignorance is I'm believing something and acting on something when there's a lot of evidence to the contrary that is not true, but because it's suiting my purposes for the time being,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go along with this stuff as if I didn't know better.
Yeah.
So I'm
Mm.
getting deeper and deeper into a situation and a circumstance when I'm knowing full well it's like evening.
Lord.
We're gonna have this conversation today, all right?
I think mom's trying to push it there. Okay. So you might as
Mom,
well just give
Mom wants us
in.
to get into that dialogue. Mom, let's have that talk. What do you mean it's like Eve?
Because did she know? Was she willfully ignorant or was she deceived? Because do
Or
we
was it
say
a
this?
moment
We
of or was it a
deceived.
moment of convenience, huh?
Yeah. that was willful ignorance because it just
Yeah.
served her purposes. Was
Yeah,
the
yeah.
serpent
So,
because we
so we
study
had
the
the church
enemy?
folks, the church folks say she was in her flesh.
I'm gonna stay in my lane over
Well,
here.
what does it mean though? Being in the flesh.
When you look at the whole scenario in our discussion about this, I went and took a look at that and looked at who said what, right?
Mhm.
And the fallen nature of man. When you look at who she listened to versus who he listened to, and the end result, we're paying for it now. So whether she was willful or naive, we still got to pay the price, right?
Mm.
So with
True.
us looking at that situation, we should have a moment of self-reflection and think about ourselves. And when we make choices or decisions to do things, and we know what we're supposed to be doing, but I do this all the time. Anybody that knows me know I do it all the time. But we find what's convenient for us to do that we can do because you know what? If I do what's convenient for me, I can knock it out. But this other thing, I'm gonna have to work harder. And sometimes we can't psych ourselves up to get it done because I was victim of that for the last 5-6 years. I worked a job for the last 16 years. I wake up 5 o'clock in the morning, but I couldn't get to work till 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right.
But
Right, right.
yeah, but if you talk to me, I tell you I love my job. I love the work that I do. I just didn't love the place and the people. But in all reality, my behavior showed what my mouth didn't say. And in the meantime, oh, she loved what she do. She loved what you. Why she can't get to work if she get up at 5 o'clock in the morning before 12 o'clock?
Mhm.
And that's where that inner struggle, and this is where the self-reflection, keeping it real with yourself, you got to really assess what's going on and say, you know what? Because this is where the deception come in. If you don't believe it or you buy into the hype, you begin to live a lie.
Right.
And the lie that I lived was, oh, I love my job. No, I didn't love that job. I love what I did and what the gratification of making a difference in the lives of other people. But I couldn't stand the place. I couldn't stand the people
Right.
that I worked with. So I deceived myself until I came to the realization in January 2021, I hate this place. It ain't working for me. But I had to really open my eyes. And that's when I was like, you know what? I felt a whole lot better now that I articulated that. And everybody know how I feel. They won't come at me a certain way. But when I said it openly and really acknowledged it, it was like, okay, now instead of walking around mad, I can walk around and they already know, hey, I could care less about this place. I'm here to do a job. But the self-deception, I was putting myself through agony. I was putting myself through, the emotional roller coaster. Because 1 minute I'm smiling, the next minute I'm snapping, the next minute I show up late, and the next minute I don't show up at all. There's always telltale signs.
Right,
Mm.
right.
There's
There's a freeing that happens from being real about that too, Jackie. You know what I mean? And I think that's the piece that I think sometimes we miss. That when we're keeping it, as folks would say today, keeping it 100, and we're being honest about who we are, where we are, and how we feel, there's a release that happens. You aren't carrying a burden that's not meant for you to carry at that point. You take that off of you. You remove that. And I think that's important for us to always remember that, by being honest, being upfront, and being real with folks, by letting them know where we are, how we feel, you're not carrying this unnecessary lie, pretending or
they already have an expectation of you, right?
Right.
People around you.
Because the crazy part is, and this is a piece that I wanted to share as well, is that whenever we're doing this mirror moments, right, as I like to call them, if I'm not being honest with Ned and where I am and who I am, then the person in the mirror isn't really my authentic self.
No.
That's right.
I'm looking at the mask that I put on every day.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's good,
I'm
Ned.
putting a mask on when I go to work. I put a mask on when I go to church. I put a mask on when I'm out in public.
You don't know who
Nobody
you are.
really knows who I am. And eventually I don't even know who I am
No.
until I discard those masks and start looking at the real Ned. And that's the piece that folks have to start realizing, that it's pulling off the mask and being honest with ourselves so that we're dealing with the inner me, the authentic me,
The,
so that now
the
I can
enemy.
really grow.
And then to that effect, we are not honest with ourselves, and then we get angry.
Right.
Angry with ourselves because we know that that's not our true authentic self, and that we're not
It's
doing
frustrating.
it. Yeah, I can't say I'm true to this, and I'm struggling doing it, and I'm like, you know what, you ain't true to this.
But that's
Right.
what depression is about, right? So we
It
go
is.
into these hiding dark spaces because we aren't happy with who we are. We don't
Yeah.
like ourselves or like the way that we're showing up for life.
That's what I was going to say. It's more how
Yeah.
we're showing
Yep.
up.
How
Yeah.
we show up.
And so we're trying to, and again, it might be because we have a perception of life that it's supposed to be a certain way based upon what others have said
So,
or what we've seen from society. And that has become a standard instead of us being grateful for being in the now and
Mm.
our own specific now. And
Yeah,
all of our nows are different, right? So it that just because I might have graduated at 14 doesn't mean that you have to graduate at 14. It doesn't make me any more phenomenal than you. The only reason why it becomes phenomenal is because everybody glorifies it.
Mm.
Everyone makes a big deal about it. But you could be 85 and still graduate, and that still is phenomenal,
Phenomenal.
right?
Right.
yeah.
And I think that that is a big part of the reason why we often lie to ourselves is because we put on ourselves unrealistic expectations about how our lives are supposed to be and what they're supposed to look like. We have this thing about we want to say we don't care about other people's opinions and we're not looking for validation, but in all reality, sometimes we're chasing that bag because we're looking for external validation. We're
Mm-hmm.
looking for ways to find happiness within ourselves. And so, for me, when I'm listening to you guys, I'm starting to, there's a revelation that is happening in this moment that the man in the mirror, although we have these masks on and although we change, we're supposed to transition through different quote unquote phases of masks, right? Because we develop over
Right.
time. But it is the thoughts and the expectations that we put on with the mask or that go along with the mask that really become detrimental to the way in which we show up. That is the part that becomes the lie. And this is just what I'm processing now. Really quickly, I want to shout out our guest, Shaquita. She had something to say that was really good. She says it's like saying ignorance is bliss, but it really isn't. Thank you for your contribution, Shaquita, and we thank you for tuning in with us this evening.
but Monica, I was thinking about you and Ned were saying about the mask and looking in the mirror. But isn't that instead of putting on a mask, look in the mirror, isn't it should be the unmasking?
Mm.
Looking in
Well,
the
yeah,
mirror
I
is
guess so. If we're thinking about the
taking the
remembering,
mask, taking the mask off to
Mm-hmm.
really discover and uncover the real us because we might think we know who we are because of the expectations and what other people have put on us and our assumed responsibility and accountability to others and to traditions and to culture and to religious
Mm-hmm.
standards. And so we put on and suppress the true us. And so it becomes a process of unmasking
Yes.
and feeling
Yes.
okay with ourselves as we unmask because we're like, what isn't I'm thinking all of a sudden it just hit me like, is it that a lot of that the hypocrisy in different religions? my
Mm.
tradition is Christianity, where we are one way on Sunday and Monday through Friday and Saturday, or until the next prayer meeting or whatever else, we come out to be something else, and then we get exposed. But because we've
Mhm.
masked, because we've learned to, and we're afraid to be who we really are, uh, because people won't accept us.
I don't
Or
know if
we're
Or
it's being
afraid that they won't
afraid.
accept us.
But is it really afraid then in that sense? Because if we are thinking about it from what you're saying, what that says to me is that we are in the process of remembering who we are. We were already created as royalty, right?
Mhm.
And so we are in this phase when you're saying the unmasking phases, these unmasking phases is so that we can get that much closer to what we have been created and called to be, right? And so I might not necessarily be afraid of what others might think. I might be afraid of what might be revealed about myself once I take the mask off.
because
Mhm.
I don't know
Throwing it
who I
out
am.
there.
That's a important perspective to look at, because we live in a society that says, long straight hair, colored eyes, and we're always trying to fit in somewhere. You try to, if you're in a family like mine, you got to find fit in. I say get in where you fit in, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes, born in the family, I don't fit in, and I'm good with that. But trying to fit in on the workplace, trying to fit in the community, trying to fit in with societal norms, we're constantly adapting, constantly changing who we are to fit in. Oftentimes, we lose sense of self.
Mhm.
So these moments
Absolutely.
we unmask, sometimes, oftentimes, even we transparent moment. I didn't like the person I became.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Due to certain situations in life, but I was the only person that had the power to change that. So no
That's
matter
right.
yeah,
where I went, I had to face doing self reflection. I had to face the reality of, yeah, some things in life made you do this, but you don't have to stay there. Some things
yeah.
in life caused you to be. I was hard in college. I didn't have a compassion bone in my body because you know what? Because of what I endured in life. But when I looked at the things that I endured and how it shaped,
Mm,
that's not who I wanted to be. That's not who as Michael Jackson says, I'm talking to the man in the mirror. I had to really look and say, you know what? This is how I turned out, but that's not who I am. Let me
Mm.
align myself, my personality, who I want to be with who I know that I am. And a lot of people, like they said,
mm,
a lot of people don't get to know themselves in their lifetime and they die not knowing who they are. So that moment
Very
of
true.
self-reflection keeps us from self-deception. Hey, that's not you. And you'll never see me walk around with long weave down my back because that ain't me. It
right.
ain't me. You will never see me walk around in some pumps and a bump. That ain't me. You may
Mhm.
see me
I
with some slacks
can.
and some sneakers and a hoodie because that's who I am,
Well,
right?
that
Right.
Nora could you come out every now and then, boy. Just
Yeah. But then you know what? I'm
but
good
that's
with that.
you.
That's
Right.
me. And I
That's
tell people
you.
all the time, I will show up at a gala event with a rhinestone hoodie and some blinged out sneakers and a nice pair of slacks.
She sure will.
Yes,
She
That
you
sure
will.
will, y'all.
and I
Yes,
could
you
care
will.
less about
And,
what people
and
think.
and have the sports logo on there too. She
Yes,
gonna have it there.
I have the NBA logo, Jerry West in bling bling, but that's who I am. And some people get caught up in who society say or trying to. My mother
Right.
said this, and her dying wish. I'm gonna honor her dying wish. You know what she did? She won't know. Be
Hmm.
who you are comfortable with, not trying to conform to whoever societal norms, community norms, church
Right.
norms. That one right there is a whole nother
Ooh, that's a whole
show.
nother. That's a whole nother. Yeah, that's a topic by itself.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we have a Facebook user who mentioned a comment that I think is worthy of bringing into this conversation. I'm not sure who made the comment because it's not saying, it's just coming up clear. But thank you for
Mhm.
joining us. They said the mask acts like an interface to engage other worlds that we encounter. It's the world views. What do you
Hmm.
guys think about that?
Hmm.
It's like being in Vegas, act like, wherever you are,
When
you
in
got to act
Rome,
like
act
the
like
culture.
Rome.
Right. Right. Right.
Well, the chameleon, I think about that. I think about
Mm.
even people who might have, even for myself, I know how to tailor my message for my particular audiences wherever I am. And some people might not always, they might think that that's
Fake.
Yeah, but it's not.
Everybody
It's
can take
because
conversation.
that's but
No,
but but scripture says that we have, if we're going to go from the scripture, right, that
Go right
that
here. Go
it
there.
is a, it's a gift, right, to be able to go into certain spaces and capture audiences, no matter the skin, the level of education, no matter what the experience is. I can touch every space. So does that mean that I'm lying to myself, or I'm being fake, or that I don't have a level of self awareness? Or does it mean that I've learned to utilize the gift that I've been given in order to move through the world,
Mm,
and encounter the various aspects of the world, so that I might walk as who I am called? Maybe that is a part of my royalty. And I'm, again, y'all, we are processing this with everybody. So we're
right.
asking for your
Yeah.
input.
I think on that one, Mo, it is important for us to be able to be adaptable to what the audience may be or the environment may be, but the message has to remain
Remain
pure and
consistent.
clear, right? And so
Yeah, that's good.
when we speak about where we go and the things we do, and like you, it is a gift from God to be able to go into any circumstance, any situation, any environment, and still be authentically Ned, giving the same clear message, even if I have to tailor it to the population so that they can understand it. It doesn't take away from or dilute the message. That's important. I don't think that we should ever conform to the ways of the world and lose who we are in the process. I think that it's important for us to be able to, dare I say, change the culture that we come into, as opposed to having the culture change us.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out to OG. That was who it was, a guest on our
OG in the
show.
building.
He was the one who said that. Of course, he would be the one who would
Yeah, that
make
would
us.
come from him.
Yeah, yeah. We love
My
you,
brother.
OG,
Yes, sir.
always.
Yes, sir.
One thing a wise person told me, and I like it. I've adapted my life around it. He
Mhm.
told me I was young. He said, "Change with the change, but remain the same."
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, "Change with the change," but he said, "Stay true to you. You can adapt to what's happening around you, but don't let it change you." And I was like, "Yeah, that's a good one," because there was a time when fashion, economic, everything changed us. It was like the world was schizophrenic.
Mm.
We doing this one day, now we doing this, and then we doing this, and it's like, okay, everything ain't for everybody, and we have to really understand that. So change with the change, but remain the same. Remain true to the essence of who you are. You may see me in a dress one day and some pumps speaking or in church or in preaching, and you may see me in a sweatsuit. I preached. I came into church with a hoodie and some Timbs on. There's like, oh, she a thug pastor. Yo, this is who I am. Like, yeah,
Yes, you are.
clothes
You are
don't
who
She
you
for
are.
the streets.
make
She
you.
for the streets,
Yeah.
y'all.
Great,
You
y'all.
know
Y'all know
what?
who she at.
The impact of being able to reach multiple audiences.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
change who I am because you know what? They were like, I get you. But I had to stay
Mm.
true to the essence of who I am, not try to be
Yeah.
a clone of somebody else, or not try to be who they try to clone me to be. No, that's not me. And we gonna clash on that because once I found out who I was, I stood my ground. And no, that ain't me. I'm sorry. Oh, she
Mm.
difficult. She rebellious. No, 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 no. I just know that that's not me.
Not me.
There
And
you
we
go.
have to be that strong in understanding who we are, that when things change around us, the true us still stays the same. People know that, nah, that's her. That's nah,
Do
she
we
ain't
ever
me.
really
That's
know who
fine.
we are, though?
That's what I was going to say because see, sometimes what I'm seeing is that we will find ourselves caught up in situations and circumstances, and we've been lulled along, even in good things. It's not
Hmm.
always from a negative place that I'm coming. That we
Right.
find ourselves feeling pressured and bending, bound, being pressed under the weight of a position, a thought
Mm.
process, and we've been holding on to that thing so long, and it comes to the place of that's where the self deception comes in. As we talk
Mm.
about willful ignorance and why we're doing certain things that we do, but there is that part of us where we are staunch in our position as to who we are and who someone else is, what a situation or circumstance is, and we believe it and we say, I know because I know, and ain't nobody going to tell me, I'm not going to change. And regardless of what's happening, I'm dying because of it. Others are dying because of me being there in that state of mind and frame of mind. But I'm staunching that, and I am not going to be moved. And I think I'm right because the Bible says,
Hmm.
I can't.
But one thing we always forget that the Bible says, and I say this all the time. And I say this because I ain't all the way there. I ain't all the way there. I ain't
You say, but you ain't fully
let me
delivered.
tell
That's
you
all right, sister.
something.
That's all right.
fully delivered.
That's all right.
You know
We
what?
love you.
One thing the Bible says, and I live by this because as a preacher's kid, I'm so used to this, right? I'm so used to the finger. But the Bible says, let a man examine himself
Or her.
Or
or
herself.
herself. If we examine ourselves, we'll see that we're not even being true to ourselves. We're not even
I
being
was like,
true
we
to who.
really believe it, Jackie. I believe it because I believe it.
Some things we
And
believe
everybody told me, and
it
I
was
got
forced
along with
on us.
other folks who told me.
Them cultic religious people we were with, they was cultic.
Oh my goodness.
She went there. Okay.
I had to
Lord.
go there. I had to go
Okay.
there. But you know what? Are you truly? Do you truly believe that in essence that's who you are? Because you know what? Sometimes we take on the people that we're around. They say, "Show me the 5 closest people that you communicate with, spend time with, and I'll show you who you are." Right? Do we
Mhm.
truly believe that this is the person that we are? Because you know what? We change every so often. Because we grow, we
We
evolve, we
develop.
You
progress.
should.
When we know better, we do better, and we change our lives accordingly. At least we're supposed to, right? But some of us, we like ignorance is bliss. Like, hold up.
Mhm.
And we have conversation with people, and you sit back and be like, you really in our head, you really believe that? And we look inside eye, like, oh my God, your sense of reality is, oh,
It's detached.
yeah,
Shout
It's
out to
delusional.
I'm going to give a shout out to
yeah.
our guest. And she has been a guest on the show a couple of times. Shout out to Gwen Gittens from the School Board District 5 out in Lee County here in Fort Myers, Florida. We love you, Gwen. She said, do you change to make others feel comfortable?
No.
So
Is it changing though? If we're adjusting our responses and reactions, that doesn't say we change. I can just, like we were talking about, adjusting to the audience. Because I adjusted to the audience, it's again, this is placating and making things palatable. Like I say, people giving people milk
So
because
you
they're
walk
not
on
ready for
eggshells?
solid food.
You walk on eggshells?
yeah, I was about to go there, Jackie. I think that I think that's a dangerous place to be sometimes, right? And it goes back to the comment I made earlier about, yeah, we definitely need to learn how to curtail what we say, but the message has to stay pure. You don't ever want to get in a place where you're shifting the message or you're changing the message so that folks are more comfortable with you, because then you end up losing the essence of it all.
Come on, Pure Care. Come
So
on, Pure Care.
But listen, right? But so what do we say? What's the difference when the scripture talks about the milk because you're still on milk when you should be eating solid food?
So are we saying somebody should grow up?
that's what it sounds like.
But
That's
I'm
spiritual
saying, but so
maturity.
how do you, and that's how do we deal with them to get them? Because again, as
Of course.
who
Mhm.
we are to in the process of discipleship. Discipleship means that you're taking them from helping them to get from one place to the next as far as maturity and helping them to equip themselves, giving them
Mhm.
resources so that they can, because that's what you do with the baby, right? You don't just take the baby and expect
Oh,
them to
my.
be adults.
Yeah. So Gwen said there's a balance, and then I
Yeah.
believe OG is the one who said we really don't have a blueprint. We are shaped by the environment and the experiences that affect us.
Mm.
There's a danger in that, and that is why we constantly have to be in the mirror. We have to be in the mirror to remind ourselves that there is more to us. This is just me talking. I'm not saying that this is the answer. This is just me saying the reason why I try to stay in the mirror. And sometimes the mirror, y'all, might be my kids. I try to stay in the
Well,
mirror
see, that's a
so that
good
I
point.
can
Well,
see myself.
Mhm.
There you go.
There's a part of
So,
you in every one of your children. So when you watch them, you see you.
See you.
yes,
And
yes,
you
that
said
you
it,
is.
know what?
Fred, you said it too, Jackie, with associates, the people
Yes,
you're around, the people who are
yes,
closest to you. That mirror is that we want to make it a physical, okay, I'm looking at myself, but it's my
It's not
surroundings,
just the
people on
glass.
our
That's right.
job, the things you're comfortable with. That
Yep.
becomes your mirror because it says a lot about you.
you
Mm,
know, my
The things
apostle
we
said to me,
tolerate.
I was talking about somebody that did something that I didn't like, and he said to me, and I had to swallow it. He said, what is it in you that you see in them that you don't like? And I was just like, what is it in
Mm.
me? What I got to do with them? He said, no, it's something in them that's in you that you don't like. And I had to really step back and examine that thing. And then I ended up examining myself, like,
Absolutely.
and that's where we have to be, because you know what, we always want to be a better version of ourselves, but we also
You
want to be an
should.
authentic version of ourselves. You never know. I always want to be an authentic version of myself. My best self is my authentic self. So I look at everything I do. Why did I do it? And you know what's behind it. And when I pick myself apart like that, I could care less what somebody else do, because I'm really hard on myself. I really pick myself, but that's what gives me the opportunity for change, self reflection.
Jackie, what if we're in a bad, what if where I am right now is a bad space?
mhm,
Long as you know you.
Everybody's telling me it's a bad space. I look and I know it's a bad space.
Mm.
I was there the other day,
I'm not
Jackie.
liking
Yeah.
it.
Hey,
We all have been there.
I'm about to say
Right.
that's not uncommon
No,
behavior or moments. We
you can hang out there for a second, but you can't stay there.
there you go.
You know, and that's
Don't make
like
it
you
permanent
said.
residency.
What if I am in a bad space? You realize you're in a bad space. That's the first part.
Mhm.
The
That's
acknowledgement of where you are.
yeah.
Right. Because when we don't, that's the lie we tell
That
ourselves that we
that's the
not
lie we
really,
tell
But
ourselves.
I
that
Right.
we
don't like
got
it
it
because it's
together.
so ugly. Somebody told me that about myself, and it make just like you said. They said to you, "What is it about the other person that you don't like that's in you?"
You.
And
Hmm.
so
Yeah.
you had to step back and really deal with that. You could have got a mad and an attitude and said some choice words to that person because you didn't like what they said. Because what do you mean? I know I got it all, whatever. I know
That's
I'm
what
not.
that's when they
I'm
say the
nothing
truth
like that.
hurts.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. I'm
So
gonna give
you
a
could have
shout out to someone really quickly, and he asked a question. Shout out to my friend Harold. Hey, Mr. Galloway, how are you doing? Thank you for tuning in to this show. Y'all, we got a lot of people coming in and tuning in today. We
Yes,
already
yes,
called
yes.
it. We said it. This is a great topic. He says the reason why people put on masks is because acceptance from others is never guaranteed.
Mm.
Even when you change and show the change um, it's misled to good, people still judge you from that past. But if Jesus forgave, why can't people?
Mm.
Brother Ned, I want you to tackle, because it, from the male perspective, I think that there's something that is really important about the way in which men forgive, right? There might be a little bit more, women are maybe a little bit more compassionate in certain areas, and so there might be women who may forgive more easily than men forgive, right? And so when we think
Just
about,
speculating.
I'm just throwing it out there,
I got you.
right? I'm
Mhm.
throwing it out there. These are things that people say, right? So what is it about the mask and the forgiveness and the unforgiveness that really is needed to be understood in this moment when we're talking about the self reflection piece? I see it from a couple of different angles. I'm just
Yeah.
Throwing
I
it
got
to
you.
you.
I got you. So first off, I'm gonna say thank you for just putting me on blast. There's all of us on here, but you're gonna call me out. So
I
I'm okay
love
with that,
you.
though.
We said
You
we
the
was
only
gonna
one that
give
can
you
come from
your
a
Listen,
male perspective.
we was gonna give you the platform
yeah,
today.
I hear you. I hear you. That was your Wonder Twin Powers activate moment. I'm with you.
Yeah.
So let me first say I think that human behavior causes us to want acceptance, right? I think out
We
of our
belong.
desire to belong, to be a part of something, to be connected to, causes us to seek acceptance from whoever and whatever, which is what sometimes gets a lot of us in trouble.
Yeah.
But to speak to the forgiveness piece, I will. This is rare. I am also going to kind of align myself with you on this, Mo. I think men have a very difficult time doing forgiveness, probably more so than sisters do, to be honest with you.
Thank you.
When it comes to us, I know
Thank
that's a rare moment, so we're
I
gonna
know.
let you have that for a minute. Go ahead.
Thank
Um, yeah, it's difficult for us, and I think that the reason why, and if I can just digress for a little bit and go into it, I think one of the reasons why it's more difficult for men is because it's harder for us to trust. And so when we
Mhm.
finally say to you, I trust you, I believe in you, I'm with you, I love you, and then that's trust is betrayed or that a level of acceptance is thrown away, it's difficult for us to get back into that situation or to walk back across that threshold. Um, does that
So
help
what's the
you?
lie that you tell yourself? Because there's a lie that you tell
Well, see,
yourself in
and,
there.
here's the lie that most men will say to you whenever we're in those circumstances, situations, and we'll say to you without a blinking of an eye, I'm okay,
I'm good.
I'm good.
Mm.
Or I forgave you. I'm not.
No, 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 no,
I'm
no, no,
done with it.
no.
Or they can
We're
say
not
I'm
gonna go
done
there.
No,
with that.
they might not forgive you.
We might not forgive you, but
Women will say that now.
yeah, men will say to you, I'm good with that.
We forgive, but we
We
never
all right.
forget. Okay.
Right. And internally, I'm still looking at you like, I don't believe you did that. I don't even understand why I'm still standing here, but I'm here, but because I said to you, I'm in.
We
But
we
that's the
lied to
lie we're telling.
ourselves to say we
And
let
we'll
go.
I think what
internally, the whole process that's going on in our head is trying to figure out how do I get out of this because I don't want to be here no more. But we're not
Mm,
saying that, we're thinking it.
mm,
And that's part of the lie that we
that's
tell.
what I meant, Ned.
Yeah,
That you were given
wow.
the perception that
yeah,
forgiveness has been extended.
yeah. And it hasn't.
It's okay.
Oh,
It's okay and I'm good when it hasn't been.
OG says we don't forgive, but we do forget as
And
men,
move
Oh yeah.
and that's
on.
so fun.
And move
That's
on.
so funny because y'all act like nothing ever
You are absolutely
happened.
correct, bro.
Okay,
We will move on in a heartbeat
Jesus.
and not look back. Sorry.
Is there some damage with that? Because is there some things that are not dealt with in doing that?
Yes, brother Lucana.
Yes, sometimes. Shout out to my favorite
Yes,
spiritual
sir.
father
Yes,
in
sir.
all of the lands, Lucada. We
Yeah.
love
It is
you.
it is circumstantial. It all depends on the situation and how deep we are in determines where if we'll let go or not. You're right, Lucana.
Yeah, yeah.
But but there is some residual damage that is done because that then becomes the baggage that gets brought forward into relationships and situations.
Yep.
And as I
Yep.
was thinking about this, Monika, Ned, and Jackie, I was thinking about the royalty piece and the lies we tell ourselves, and as it
Oh my
relates
goodness.
to faith
I know what you
and trusting in God. Hebrews 11:1, and that calling things that be not as if they were. Faith is the
mm,
substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things. And so I'm saying, again, I'm saying I'm good when I'm not, but I'm trusting God. I'm going to get over this. And
Mm,
is that, in a sense, avoidance?
mm.
That it sometimes keeps us from dealing realistically with a situation and moving forward to the place that we need to be, or and even getting access to the help and the resources for true healing.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of linking to when Ned said, I'm okay. Because we oftentimes, the biggest lie that I might say is, I'm okay. I don't need anything. People will say, well, do you need help? And sometimes I don't even know how to articulate what I need help for and with. Or sometimes I might be scared to say it because I don't want to either be judged, or I might feel ashamed at the fact that I need the help, right? Or
Mm.
that I'm in the position because someone might think that I've been irresponsible or for whatever reason. And so that prohibits me from being able to go to receive the things that I need so that I can ensure my well being. And it also prohibits me and increases the likelihood for me having a mental breakdown, right? An internal meltdown because I'm silently suffering, and it will prohibit me from being able to go get help because
But
I'm always
again,
thinking.
I'm prefacing it with this too. Again, I'm trusting God.
Are you
Are we
really?
really?
Everybody say, "Are you really? Are you really, y'all?"
Because you know what? Sometimes that's a scapegoat and an excuse to not do
Yep.
nothing.
Yep. That's my get out of jail pass. I'm trusting God. When reality, you really haven't.
You
You
just
haven't
as
allowed God to
fearful.
work on it.
You just as
You haven't.
undecisive and all
Yeah.
that inside. You ain't
Yeah.
trusting nobody.
You haven't trusted. You know, my great auntie used to say, if you really trust God, you leave it at the altar. And sometimes we don't. We will go to God and say, God, help me with this, and then we pick it right up and walk out the church with it, or walk away from the prayer moment, and we still got it with us.
Still
But
carrying it.
we're still carrying it. And God's like, how am I going to help you with it if you won't give it to me?
But
And so
isn't
you're
there
not
some
trusting
other
God to really work on it.
but even with the leaving it at the altar, what does that mean? That means okay, I'm done with it.
Sometimes.
I mean, this will keep praying for people. It's like people who come to you with issues and pray for me,
Amen.
pray for me, pray for me, pray, and you keep on praying for them, and they're not, and you leave that place and they go to the next conference and whatever, seeking prayer. But this faith, the thing what they're looking for is something that they have to make and take some steps on. I mean, they're lying to themselves, thinking as if I'm helpless. I've been victimized by this situation and circumstance,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm praying and trusting God, and I can't hear from God, and nothing's coming through, and nothing's working for me.
Is it
Mm.
not working for you, or are you just not
Not working it.
recognizing, yeah, or recognizing that you are in the very place that you are supposed to be at that very
That
moment for
moment.
Mm-hmm.
whatever particular reason it is? There's a lesson, or there's a test and a trust, right? That's
Amen.
needed in that moment so that you could be spiritually matured, right? So that you can get to the next unveiling, right? I guess is what we're now going to say. It's we're taking masks off, right? Mask off. I think that's a question
But
that
I've been
we really have
trying,
to
Monica.
grapple with.
Everything I've been trying, and I keep on doing this, and I keep on
Are you
putting
really
all in.
trying?
Yes, I'm breaking my neck. I'm running here and there. I'm doing this and putting in
That's
the
the
extra hours and doing
problem.
all these things.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the problem,
But
though. I
but I'm about to throw a monkey wrench in the games. I always
Uh
do.
oh.
Go ahead. Go
We've
ahead.
been bamboozled, and I ain't even gonna lie. We've been bamboozled. I've been in church. Let me tell you.
Talk about it.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest. I've been in
Let's
church all
go.
my life. I was born and raised in the church, right? And the stuff I heard church folks say, they lied. That's not how it happened. And they give people a false sense of hope, and that's why people fake it to the and they
Mm,
don't never make it. And they sit
Mm.
back like they lied to me. Baby, if you read the Bible, you know they lied because that's not how it happens. And when we give them that false sense of reality, they're expecting it to happen one way. Like I told somebody the other day, I said, I spoke something on June 1st or June 2nd. It happened July 19th, right? Now, if I listen to church folks, it would have never happened.
Mm.
But when I understand who I am and the power of the spoken word from me, I understood why it happened. I said to somebody, and I was, if I'm here,
Mhm.
July 19th, I ain't no longer there.
Mm.
But I spoke it, and I really, really meant it. I really meant it. But the
I had a similar
self-deception would be,
situation.
oh, that's somebody working voodoo. No, no. We have to understand the power that we own, the power in our word,
mm.
power in our choices.
Discernment.
We got to begin, yes, discernment. We got to begin to live and speak as such. Because when we listen to the church folks and people get up and testify, they testify out of excitement. And some of the stuff they're saying, it didn't happen like that. It didn't, and we deceive people, and people begin to look at, oh, that's not how it happened. God ain't no genie in the bottle. Call them up and tell them what you want. Yeah, there's communication that constantly happens, and then people are looking for things to happen a certain way, and that's not how it happened. And the next thing you know, we're falsely blaming God when we should blame the person that got up on that mic and said this is how it's going to happen. That's who you blame. But then if you have an understanding of the Bible,
Believe that.
Well, can
Accountability, please.
there's something that's really important and key here when you said the false sense of hope, right? I think about Dr. King because we've been covering Dr. King and the If I Have a Dream speech because it's the anniversary of that alongside of the mental wellness. I think that in what Dr. King was saying to us was for us to really do that self-reflective. Yes, it is effed up out here. Okay.
Yeah.
But and it ain't right. And some of us is suffering. Right. Our kids ain't getting the education. We ain't got the money. We poverty stricken and we trying. Yes, y'all all might be trying.
Everything's bad. Relationship, family broke down, communities all tore apart.
But the hope was there he didn't create a sense of hope in the fact that someone else was responsible for it. The hope was he planted it right in at home. Take it back to where you are and begin the process. He didn't say that it would happen overnight, like you said, Jackie. Like he didn't give this falsified view of, oh, we're going to go in and we're going to take it down and you're going to get this mantle. And we're going to go rock it up. He's over time.
Correct.
These things, and here's the expectation that the crooked might be made straight, that the wrongs might be righted, right? We didn't, and I think that the lie that we tell ourselves is in the fact that we're always looking for instant gratification. We're always looking for something to happen right now. We're thinking that if it doesn't happen right now, that God is silent. Well, let me just tell you, God lives in you. You are connected.
You are.
That's right.
You are God, right? And people might not like what I say, and I might have those say you speaking blasphemy, but you need to go read.
No. You're right.
You need to go read. You need to study. There's some cultural awareness that's missing.
There's a thing to that too, because the scripture in Corinthians that talks about let a man examine himself. That word examination that's used there was not for him to look at himself in the mirror and tear himself down.
Right.
We often in the church, people use that. I can't take communion. I can't do this because I'm unclean. That's not what the examination was about.
That's a doctrine of condemnation. That's
right. The examination was look within to see the good in you.
Yes.
That little inkling, that was the process, the judicial process of looking to in defense of. Where is the truth, that seed of good in me that I can build on? The ashes that I have left after I've lived this life and been torn down. And in the midst of all the discrimination and all that's unjust, where is the dream that still remains?
And there is a piece that we can build on.
It does still exist.
It still exists.
Talk, Ned.
We're still striving for that same dream, and our children's gonna strive.
Yep.
Talk, Ned. Talk.
She said, "Talk, Ned." No, I'm listening, but I'm agreeing because the dream still does live in each and every one of us because we are that dream, right? Our very existence is the dream that King spoke about. The fact that we are getting up every day, doing what we need to do, trying to be the best me I can be, is me living King's dream.
Another opportunity to get there, a step closer. I haven't achieved it yet. None of us have.
No.
None of us have yet
we're
arrived
working at it daily.
Daily.
The daily work, though, and I
Let it
want to be
go.
clear because some people might want to distort what I'm saying. I want to be clear that although he said take it back home, that was not void of community and the
That's
right
right.
community, the right
That's right.
community that will instill in you. You all are working towards the same thing, but there might be some elders who might just have a little bit more wisdom and have some better understanding than
Come
you,
That's
on.
right.
and
Yep.
you have to be willing and open
That's right.
to take off the masks
Yeah.
and present yourself. And we don't like to use this word vulnerable, and then some people overuse the word vulnerable, but
Mm.
we have to be willing to be transparent and vulnerable to be able to receive the information so that we gain an understanding, a true understanding of what it is that we need to know about our existence. That is where people say, oh, I'm trying to figure out my purpose. You don't need to figure out your purpose, right?
Walk
You've
in it.
already been purposed with something. It is to walk in it. We each individually have been given gifts. We
Hmm.
each have been given a divine connection to be able to show up in the world, to be able to overcome
Freedom to
some of
be
these
you.
things. Right. And so be
To be
happy with
you.
being you. And
That's right.
sometimes because of who this carnal and all of the stuff we experience, and Gwen talked about that, all of the traumas and the triggers that we are come into contact with, we make them who we are. We
We
wear
are
them
not
as
that.
if that is who
It's
we
not true.
are. It is not who we are. It is an experience. It is a
Yes.
connection. It is to, in fact, for me, I say that everything that I've encountered is to help to enhance my gifting, whether it's
To
good or
take
not
off
so
the
good.
mask.
Yes,
To help
yes,
me take
yes.
off one
So
mask.
that's my
Peel back a layer.
authenticity. Right. My authenticity is to not
You
pretend
did.
like I didn't go through that. Yeah, I got knocked up at 14. Yeah, I had a baby, but I also did this, and this, and this, and this. Right. This doesn't dictate the life that I have to live, but it does enhance my ability to speak to
Yeah.
someone else and witness to someone else about the power that they have.
It,
Right.
it gives you the relatability, and that's what a lot
Yes.
of people are lacking. You got to take the good with the bad, because you know what?
Yeah.
Yes.
I learned more in the bad than I did in the good. And a lot of
Yes.
people say, "Oh, it
Yep.
shaped me." It shapes us, it makes us. But you know what they
It
say?
made
Don't
me.
get stuck there. Don't stay there.
There it
I
is.
want you to become a better version of yourself. And every day we strive not for perfection, but to be better.
That's
Yes.
right.
And that's
Isn't
what
that the birthing? The
yes,
pains of life
Mm.
are the birthing pains
birthing
to
That's
the
it.
pain.
next
That's
level
it.
where we need to
Yes.
go.
Yep.
Let me
Learning to
tell you,
use that
if
pain to
certain
propel
things
you
wouldn't
forward.
happen, we wouldn't move. We stay where we are. But
Right.
he allows certain situations in our lives to happen because sometimes that's the spark that we need to say, you know what? I'm gonna
Yep.
do it. I'm gonna get
That's
it
right.
done.
That's right.
You can't
Yes.
live in a
So
oh, did that really happen? Yeah, it happened.
that's it.
Now what you gonna do?
Shout out to Manwasha, Mansho, and Washa Edu. They are phenomenal people. If you guys don't know, and you guys are
Absolutely.
really trying to get a better understanding of who you are as kings and queens, okay, I'm just going to say that as
Leave it there.
royalty, they have an awesome, awesome school, an awesome community that they share with us information that is just to enrich your and enhance your life. So shout out to you guys at the Black Love School for all that you guys are doing in community and for community, with community, for the betterment of community and who we are, not just as a person and individual, but as a unit of people
Birthing us
who
into who
have
we are
been
uniquely.
right, bringing us
Yeah.
into who we are. So he said the
Amen.
perpetual consciousness, that's always communal.
That's right.
Niakoma.
That's right. That's right.
Niakoma. Our brother Justice, he said to us that he says, I even take the bad with the bad.
Hmm.
I even
Mm.
take the bad with the bad. That's deep.
Yeah, because there's even
Yeah.
growth in that.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's deep.
Instead of wishing it away,
Hmm.
welcoming it. It's like that again. We talk about
Hmm.
is the pain,
Yep.
growing
Hmm.
through our pains and difficult
Yeah.
times, and seeing them as resources are strengthening us, sharpening us, making us more aware, getting us
Right.
to move. I think about experiences that I've had. There's some things that I was like, I would never have moved on my own because I'm committed.
Mm.
I don't
You
want to
hadn't gone
say that I
full.
would have
That
given
committed
up.
word.
But
That
Yep.
when
committed word, and it gets
oh,
us every time. A committed
I
word and that
don't
loyal word. I'm loyal.
oh, that's right. The loyalty and commitment and will keep you stuck in a place that you don't need to be.
Yeah.
And unless things break down, where you're no longer able to feel comfortable with them, you'll stay there. That's why you were able to move. I was moved, thrust out. He's like all the
Mm.
signs were there that it was time for me to move and go, but I was holding
Exit
on because
sign
I
was
was going to.
flashing, and you still wasn't moving towards it.
That's right. I'm going to show that I'm better than this. I'm tougher than this. I can stand
Mhm.
it out just
You touch
because
This
they
that
not
don't
going.
wrong.
want
You're
This
it.
gonna
not
touch
going to
that.
beat me.
I'm a
Yeah.
trooper. I'm a fighter. You burning your
That's
energy.
right.
You don't need
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. Yeah. Just
I'm
yeah,
not going to
wasting
give up.
energy.
Yeah.
You a hamster on the wheel and don't
Deceiving
even realize it.
ourselves that it ain't time to go and let go, right? We hanging on in there and killing ourselves in the meantime because we won't let go, won't
Yep.
move on, won't progress, won't grow.
So important
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
6:04. We normally have an hour platform. This, of course, as we already knew, was going to be a ginormous topic. We didn't come here to give any specific answer to anything, but we came to work it out with all of you as we are each trying to strive to be our greater and to remember who we are. We know that we can't do it alone, and we hope that this is just the beginning of many conversations that you will take back to your own communities, your own homes, and begin to do the work of remembering who you are, looking in the mirror, doing the work of self examination, and loving on yourself. That is true love. I know people say, education and what you have in your mind is the only thing that a person can't take from you. But
Mm,
self love is another thing that no one can
that's
take from
right.
you. It
Yeah.
took me a very long time to understand what that meant. And I hope that you guys know that you are loved by us. But most
Absolutely.
importantly, whether or not you know that or not, as long as you know that you love you, that's what's important because that's what's going to help you set the right boundaries, the right safety measures, the right things.
That's
That's what's
right.
going to help you
Right.
show up to being the most authentic you. I'm going to turn it over. Ned, Jackie, Mother, anything that you guys want to leave for the people.
I want to say this too. It's the road to truth. It's be a seeker. Never
Hmm.
think you are a possessor and a knower of everything, because that's what's going to keep you masked, trying to control everything. That there needs to be some openness. That those things that we attach ourselves to, we need to make sure that those are truths and not
Mm.
just from our perspective. So we always be open and seeking, be grounded,
Mm,
make sure your foundation is firm.
yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
I guess my takeaway is spend time learning you so that you can work on understanding who you really are first and foremost. Because it's impossible to remove a mask if you don't realize that you're wearing one.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
So
Hmm.
take some time to figure out who you are. Spend some time with you, commune with you, so that you can understand better who you are.
Mm. I like that, Ned.
Mm.
And I'm going to end with one phrase: "To thy own self be true."
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
When
Mm.
you look in the
Amen.
mirror, you go to sleep at night. You know that you know what I was true to myself. I didn't try to fake
Mm-hmm.
nothing. I didn't try to be nobody else. All
Mm-hmm.
I can
It's
be
important.
is my
It
authentic
is.
self. God made me an original. I'm not going to die a copy.
Don't
Hmm.
believe the hype.
Amen.
Don't
Oh,
believe
who
the
would that be?
hype.
Back to Public
Hey.
Enemy.
Yes.
That's it. You are your own
Own
worst
enemy.
enemy. Public enemy number one. We love y'all. We thank you guys for tuning in. And again, please like and share. There's other
Absolutely.
people out here who need to hear this information, who are waiting for you to step into your rightful position so that they can become in who they've been created to be. So we ask you guys, don't be afraid, and take the chance, right? Have the courage to take the chance. Join
Yeah.
us next week. Wednesday, I believe it's Barbershop
It is
Conversations. We are
barbershop
back at
conversations.
Barbershop and Beauty Shop
Please come join your
Conversations.
boy in the shop.
Yeah. We'll look out for what the topic is going to be. I'm sure he's going to have some phenomenal guests who are going to be coming in with him. Fellas, just get ready, get ready, get ready. It's going to be an awesome time for your
Yes,
growth,
yes, yes.
right? And then on Thursdays, don't forget on the Win Win Women's TV network, Mom and I hit y'all all at the same time with the Aspire to Higher show at 6 p.m. Eastern. We love you
Yes.
guys. We can't wait to see you guys next week. Talk to you guys soon. Bye bye.
Bye
Take care.
bye.
Bless.